When I heard that Hyundai were going to produce an N version of the IONIQ 5 that we've already reviewed, I thought, what's the point? Track cars are meant to be light. It's a 2-tonne van. And when I heard they were going to give it fake engine sounds, not just inside the car but with the snap, crackle and pop outside as well, I thought, oh really? And then I heard they're going to make it simulate an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, complete with a big kick in the back on every gear change, and even a reduced torque delivery that emulates an internal combustion car. That's to say, not much power or torque down low. And I thought, oh, that is so lame. Why would you pretend it's a track car and then intentionally reduce the power? This has to be some sort of marketing gimmick. What, the fridge magnet? But now that I've driven it for a week, it's fabulous. And the noise and kick thing is much more than just a gimmick. I reckon of all the Hyundais we've tested, this is the best. It's really 2 cars in one. You can have silent but deadly.
This is stealth mode.
Yep, but
yeah.
It's...
Oh!
Sorry, did I not
right. No, it's okay.
Or at the touch of a button, you'd swear you're in a GT3 car with a snappy sequential box.
Oh my gosh.
Now, over the years I've made Mark drive a lot of EVs, often against his will. I can't wait to see what he thinks of this. An aberration, an abomination, or sheer brilliance. Behold, a thing of enormous beauty, Soltronic orange they call it.
That's a great colour, isn't it?
I didn't think I'd be as impressed as I am. This car is awesome. You are going to love it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, Stu. I mean, I like the original IONIQ 5 and I know the specs on this car. I just know how good it's going to be. I'm expecting to be impressed.
640 horsepower enough for you?
Yeah, that's enough.
There's 2 N buttons on the wheel down the bottom there. The right button switches between electric power delivery to simulated 8-speed dual clutch transmission petrol car delivery. So if you push the right one, and you'll hear the engine note has now come in, you're driving. Now your paddle shifters work like gear change, just as you love. That's it. The way I've programmed it, folks, there's all these N buttons on the wheel. You've got your normal, eco, normal and sport on this one, and then this button down here, it goes to N and N custom. So I've set up N custom the way I know Mark will like it.
Yeah.
So sporty motor, stiff steering, suspension, not quite the firmest because the roads are a little bit of limited slip diff, sporty traction control, head-up display. You notice you got a nice head-up display there. Sport
yeah, it's
mode.
good. I've got my Polaroids on today. They're not as great as the Corvette we drove the other day, which I could see the head-up display with sunnies on really, really well.
Even though it's a 1-speed gearbox, it's doing a really good job simulating an 8-speed.
Yeah, it's all completely synthetic, but it's actually very, very good, isn't it?
Not only that, you're in 3rd gear now. Go right up to 8th gear.
Probably go to 7th.
Yeah, 8th gear. Now floor the throttle, and it doesn't go. Whereas if you're in electric mode and did that, it'd launch. Nice linear delivery, 3,000 revs there. It comes on the boil about 4,000, so as you can see, it pulls pretty well. And there's our snap, crackle and pop.
So can we over rev this engine, Stu?
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Am I going to get a couple of bend valves from
No, you're not going to bend the valves.
Yeah. That little burble is very like the i30 sedan N that we drove.
Yeah, and it's coming from the back too. Righto, go on. That put a smile on your face.
That thrust that you just felt then with a very moderate amount of throttle pedal for me was not like an internal combustion engine in terms of the thrust that it gives you.
I'm the kind of person that with an EV, I just like to be in electric vehicle mode, cruising along silently.
Yeah,
you got
that's
that.
Probably what I'd be doing if I owned this car. And I'd have a bit of fun with it, but you would be most of the time driving it
Like that.
just like that.
And the thing is, the irony is now in electric mode, you've got much more power.
Got it all there, yeah.
Compared to the i30N sedan we had last week, for a start, road noise. much less in this car.
Yeah, well, we've got big 21-inch wheels.
With 275s, front and rear.
It's crazy the amount of rubber on this car, but I'm in EV mode there, of course, so there's no engine noise. There's very little road noise as well through those tyres.
Which is weird. Have you ever been in a car that's had 275 tyres on the front before?
Probably not a road car, no.
When I mentioned this to you a few months ago, and I said EVs can now do this simulated manual thing, you rolled your eyes and went, who? And the guy in the coffee shop just bailed us up straight away and said, how ridiculous. But it's actually really, really fun.
Yeah, I mean, how often would you use it? Just for a bit of fun every now and again, but it's just a cool party trick, isn't it, really?
I reckon you'll do it all the time. Now, as you probably know, Tesla don't do any fake sounds, and I know one Tesla owner who's not a fan at all.
This car's really, really good. I really like it.
Good.
But I hate the emulation.
Okay.
Or simulation, emulation, boy racer crap.
Ooh, that was harsh. I completely disagree. And as you'll see when we get to the twisty bits, Mark does as well. I'll tell you what, after you've watched Mark fling it around a bit, let us know in the comments. What do you think of the whole emulation experience?
When I'm driving the car, I just want to be able to go from, one button back to silent, back to EV. You don't want to be mucking around with screens and.
That's what I'm here for, buddy. Make life easy for you.
Now we're in just silent mode. We go back to pedals with the regenerative braking with the iPedal setup, which we always really like with the Hyundai, don't we?
Yeah.
It's such a cool feature.
iPedal 0, 1, 2, 3 or max. This thing in race mode has got a massive amount of regen braking. It's like 320 kilowatts of braking power, 0.6 Gs, which is like a big stop.
You'd never really need it on the road, but on the track it just helps with a bit of weight transfer to the front to turn the car in.
The question I'm going to ask today, and we're going to try and answer, is who would buy it?
We need people to help us answer that one as well. Who would buy it?
It's 120 grand. You can't get away from that.
Not
I know we live in an era where tradies, but they'll go and buy $100,000 worth of Ford Ranger Raptor with all the fruit.
Your median Sydney house price is now 1.6 million.
So they can justify 8% of that on a car.
Yeah,
as you do.
This is just really cool, isn't it?
It's not just cool.
It's different.
Having got out of the petrol turbo car, and I'm a bit of an EV guy, but I love a good petrol motor. You don't need any more power. It's 600 horsepower before you hit the green shift button and get a bit more. It's just ridiculous. I actually want one. Do you remember my turbo? Remember how fast my turbo was? My modified Porsche 996 all-wheel drive twin turbo with 20 pounds of boost, like 800 newton meters of torque. So does this.
Yeah, that was a fast car.
And this is electric, so it's just absolutely no waiting, just kaboom. Compared to the base IONIQ 5, all the driveline and mechanicals are hugely beefed up in this car. Unsurprisingly, there's no storage up front, just this front motor. In the back, plenty of space above deck, but nothing below, as there's another 406 horsepower motor sitting under there. Total, 641. So how would you classify it? I don't know. In the flesh, it's much bigger than it looks in photos. And with those hooded eyebrows, it's an angry bird. The wheelbase is a massive 3 meters, longer than a Land Cruiser. But it's too big to be called a hot hatch, and too cool looking to be called an SUV. So what is it? I'd call it an ABC, an angry bird crossover.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Got headroom?
Yeah.
And how tall are you?
198, yeah.
Nearly 2 meters tall.
That's it.
A little bit lacking in thigh support, I think.
Oh, here, yes, yeah. A little bit under here.
But considering that, not too bad. I genuinely think Hyundai, thanks to Albert Beam and others who are serious petrol heads, have said the problem is you go to a racetrack, you meet a whole lot of motorsport people who love the smell of petrol, and there'll always be people going, I can't stand EVs, you'll never get me in a EV, they're just a golf cart. They've gone out of their way to actually try and win them over. For all the enthusiasts out there, we hear you. This is not the end of driving, but a new chapter. Our journey continues with the IONIQ 5N, because at Hyundai N, driving still matters.
That's their ethos, isn't it? And I really like that about Hyundai.
Interestingly, looking at their TV ads, it's kind of confusing. It's the kind of ad you don't see very often, because it shows them drifting the thing like crazy around the track, of course, doing super high-speed drifts, because it's got all that drift mode, race mode, drift optimizer. And then suddenly you see the cars back on the road doing the same thing on a multi-lane road at night. And you go, hang on, that's a suburban area, that's a city area. And they're drifting. and then they're doing launch control at a traffic light, and you go, gee, that's a bit odd. You don't kind of see that every day. They're trying to find this right balance of, you know, they say corner rascal because it's a little bit naughty, you know. The sound isn't just happening in here. We can hear it coming from not just the speakers in the back, but there are massive speakers inside the rear bumper bar, which is crazy.
That's clever how they've replicated engine, you know, pretty comparable amount of engine braking there that you get with an internal combustion engine.
Why don't we find some open road?
Yeah, just... I really like that little, you get on the upshift roll.
It comes on the cam about $5,000, doesn't it? 5 to 7.
Can we use those words, Cam?
We have to use terminology that people are familiar with.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Do you want to hear a different sound? This one is called Evolution. Gee, you like using the revs, don't you?
Yeah, I like the revs.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
What else we got?
We've got Supersonic, which is this is an F-16 fighter.
I think we busted a wheel bearing, that's what that sounds like.
I thought you'd broken something then. That is ridiculous. I've just got a question. If you are a fighter pilot out there, and there must be one, in an F-16, is it a H pattern or is it a paddle shift?
Stick shift, paddle shift.
Yeah, we don't know.
I kind of like that one.
You like that?
Yeah.
And there was I thinking you're going to hate all.
You really do need to gear this up so it's shooting some flames out.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Is that an option? The actual flamethrower? I think this is a chance for me to do some of my special effects. No, that is too stupid. Sorry. Petrol motor.
Or we just go
Silent.
proper EV.
Okay, now we've got a problem because now you get full power. Oh.
You really can feel the difference. It's just relentless there. Here we've got our little bit of road that we like here. I'll tell you what, you know, we did this just last week in the i30 sedan N, which was great. We love it. Having 2.2 tonne there over that crest really helped.
N road sense is actually something where it's looking at the road signs and the road ahead to tell you to go to N mode because there's corners coming up, in case you're too thick to see it yourself.
Wow.
Battery preconditioning, again, this is to prepare the battery so it's in optimal condition for either drag racing or track racing, for sprint or endurance events, and that changes the way the cooling works. Because one thing to remember, when you're flat on the gas, you're generating a lot of heat and energy in the battery, but also when you're braking hard, you're putting the energy back in, and that's just as stressful for a battery as sucking the power out. N pedal, can activate that. This is really for racetracks, so this gives you a mega amount of braking through regen. So when you lift off the accelerator, straight away you get a super fast transition to brake. Now I know you're a left foot braker, so you can get that transition really fast. Oh my goodness.
You do feel the weight there, don't you, when you go to brake? You'd feel that on a track. You'd feel that 2.2 tonne.
It'll do it though.
I mean, I know it's got really big brakes on it.
400mm at the front. When were you last in a car that had 400mm brakes? Even your race cars aren't that big.
Yeah.
N drift optimizer, I don't think we'll do that just now.
No, we don't need that.
N race and torque distribution. You can actually switch the torque to be fully front wheel drive or fully rear wheel drive or anything in between. But if you overstep the bounds of grip, it will then say, oh no, we're slipping, I'll give you a little bit more at the other end as well. So
let's try it in full front wheel.
Okay.
And let's just see how that goes, and you know, can we feel the difference?
Okay, well I'm ready. It's interesting.
Different.
Now you're in rear-wheel drive car.
So we've
You've
all
got
that
a
noise,
yeah,
and we've got no gears.
no gears.
It's kind of cool, actually. It does feel different. Power delivery is very different there. That does feel exactly what you'd expect. So I think that's replicated that really nicely.
Rear-wheel drive mode. It has you looking for another gear, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
no gears. We've got sound, but no gears.
If I go pedals here, I think that was, see that's end pedal 2 and pedal 3.
Yeah.
I can change the end pedal with my pedals.
Yeah.
We're just driving an end pedal node.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that from with our cameras in here on the weight transfer to the front.
And you're not touching the brake there, are you?
It's not brake.
So-
I'm just coming off the throttle in a straight line. Feel how we're...
Yeah. Straight
You
away.
normally don't feel that with most EVs, regardless of your brake setup or your power setup or your torque distribution. You don't really get that transfer of weight, and that's actually what you want. You want that transfer of weight, so that's a really good feature.
I knew you'd like that.
So let's go 50-50 torque distribution.
Of course, you can turn it off and let it figure it out, and it'll probably do a better
let's
job
turn
than
it
either
off.
of us.
Turn it off and let it figure itself out. And I can use paddle shift then. I've got no gears there again, so...
Yeah. Do you want gears? Now you got gears.
I've got gears, yeah, right.
Okay. Drive it like a manual car. I do like that kick on the gear changes. That's cool, isn't it?
It just handles so well, Stu. Not a hint of push or understeer there, is there?
No.
It's got massive brakes and tyres on it.
You can
I'd be interested to see how that would perform after a lot of track work, brake-wise. Got a feeling you'd be struggling a little bit.
we might just pull over in a minute and just see how much heat's coming off the brakes.
I'll tell you something, the brakes don't feel that great.
Do they?
No. When you're pushing on, it doesn't want to stop.
Just the weight, or
It's just the weight.
and look, you can't normally do that. They're hardly warm.
When we went to end pedal, that certainly helped. And I love the fact that this transfers that weight as you're turning in. It really helps the overall dynamics of the car. This to me felt like under hard braking, it's just not stopping quite as well as I would like it to stop.
Okay.
It's 2.2 tonne, isn't it? So, you know, that's a lot of car to pull up.
It might keep doing that all day, maybe.
Well, yeah, it may very well do that.
It's a pleasant sounding motor. It's like a burry little. It sounds like a hot 4-cylinder, doesn't it? They didn't give it the sound of a big V8 or a Ferrari V10 or something.
Something sort of relevant, isn't it?
Turbo 4-cylinder motors are what Hyundai N division is all about. i20N, i30N. They want this car to be convincing to enthusiasts and aligned with their other products. And that's what it is. A big boost, 600 horsepower, 640 horsepower, 4-cylinder. Not a pretend Ferrari. So now we're in silent electric motor mode, no noise.
We're at end pedal 3, which is maximum weight transfer to the front.
Yep. Do you want to have torque distribution standard? Let it figure it out?
Yeah, do that
Okay.
automatically.
Okay. So this should be the quickest way to get around a racetrack, the way it is now.
So I just made the comment a minute ago, Stu, when we were coming downhill before, the car almost felt under-braked. The car wasn't stopping the way I wanted it to stop.
Yep.
Going downhill with a bit of gravity helping us going uphill, it was okay.
Yep.
But now we've got that end pedal.
Yep.
You can really feel that speed coming off the car. But that's no brake there at all.
Yep. And it's a good solid stop.
That's a pretty reasonable, you'd equate that to a pretty reasonable brake application, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Brake pedal there, no brake pedal there. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? We give it a bit of a gas there, no brake there.
It's a very rapid transition from off the accelerator onto the brake, isn't it?
So that's a really good setting, isn't it?
a kind of point and shoot car. What's the lateral grip like if you load it up? Does it understeer mid-corner?
There's not a hint of understeer.
No, nothing.
Considering the power that we're putting through the front tyres there. This is a really cool piece of road. I mean, our kilometres per hour are not that high, but the corners are very tight. So
yeah,
relatively, we're travelling pretty quickly.
That's the good thing. We're actually driving under the speed limit up here, but remarkably quiet too.
The damping of the car is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean the Nürburgring is the ultimate test.
I've got the measure, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've done plenty of laps there, and it's 2 seconds faster than a Lamborghini Murcielago LP640 on the same tyres.
The Murcielago?
An E92 BMW M3 GTS on the same tyres. It's 3 seconds faster than that. And an M2 competition like your old car, the F87 series, driven by the same driver, driving this car, driving that car, is 7 seconds slower in the BMW M2 competition.
Yeah, right.
So it's quick. It's not as fast as a Porsche Taycan Turbo, 5 seconds. So this thing is an absolute friggin' weapon.
Yeah, look, I think even, so I can tell you this car is very fast around the corners. It's not just about landing in a straight line. And probably the early Tesla fun factor was just the torque and the acceleration and the 0 to 100. We get that, because even the lower powered EVs, it's still very good. But handling and the dynamics of this car are just outstanding. Sits so flat in the corners, the dampening is fantastic over the bumpy roads we've got here. Not a hint of understeer, not a hint of oversteer. I haven't seen any stability intervening. I haven't driven this on the track. I believe if you were going hard on the track, you're not going to get a lot out of the brakes on this car, I don't think. I think that would be the limiting factor. The brakes are great, but it's pulling up such a lot of weight. Not only are you getting a regen, and that's stopping the car as it should, it's getting that weight transfer to the front, and that's what I really, really like.
Launch control's activated. We're on a loose surface.
So if I go on full brake, I'll go full throttle, then I'll just release the brake.
Yep. Ready?
And with the launch control. That was impressive, wasn't it?
Later on, by myself, I was able to get that time down to 3.5, and I didn't even bother with the inCARnation boost, which in theory would have made it 3.4. Interestingly, in manual 8-speed mode, the best I could achieve was a 4.1, which it did over and over again. Still pretty damn quick.
See my physio on Friday, Stu, because I'm going to need a little bit of a neck adjustment.
You know, later this year the Macan EV's coming out. Every time you see a post saying, head of Porsche says no more electric vehicles, we're going to eco-fuels. Well, guess what? The Macan and the Cayenne, no petrol, no diesel, from now on, just electric. So all those articles, thank you, just total bullshit. But that's coming out later this year. I reckon this car is a competitor to the Macan 4, the new electric Macan, all-wheel drive SUV. That car is a lot slower than this. You need to go for a Macan Turbo, and that's going to cost you, don't know the pricing yet, but it's going to be 170 grand at least, something like that. Different price. However, the Macan 4, the entry-level Macan, is priced similarly to this, but it's a Porsche, and it will drive like a Porsche. Would somebody buy this over that car? I reckon that's the competitor. I don't know why. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I do. I do love the fact that one button just changes it from silent iron fist in a velvet glove EV I am all dominant mode to, oh, you want a petrol car where you can drive it on the gears. Honestly, best of both worlds. Hyundai, excellent job. This is the end car for me. We asked the question earlier, at $120,000, who would buy the Angry Bird? If I had the money, I would. Hyundai tell me it's a real mix of buyers. People who already own an IONIQ 5 upgrading, petrol in-car drivers who've got the track bug and are smitten by the idea of more than doubling the power of their i30N, and guys who already have a supercar or two in the garage and just want family transport. The point is, it's a genuine competitor to a Porsche Taycan or an Audi RS6, both of which cost a lot more than twice the price. So it starts to make a bit of sense now. Let me just say my electric 928 that I'm building, and if you haven't seen the episodes on the channel, go and watch them, they're fun. It's a slow build, but it's going to be nothing like this, but it will have decent torque, so it should go as well as a normal 928, but this is something else. There we go, second, 4,000 revs, 5.5, 6 there, 5.5, and there you go, just like a petrol car. Same characteristics with the weight balance, front and rear, crackle on the exhaust, you feel the movement there in the back a little bit, just, it wasn't movement, it was just a weight transfer.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Supersonic up the hill. I want to hear that explosion on the upshift. That sounds ridiculous.
That is a bit ridiculous.
We've got to do this dance every time we get in the car. Watch this, I'm getting good at it now. Settings, vehicle, driver assistance, speed limits, scroll up, off, and driving safety, scroll up, oops, scroll up, lane safety off. Oh, it was off, okay. It's annoying. It's not saved by the driver's profile, and it really should be. Please, Hyundai, can you save that kind of safety stuff by the driver's profile instead of reverting to maximum safety every time we turn on? I know, safety issue, not really. And here's more gravel coming up.
Pretty good traction.
Yeah.
I'll go down to second.
Amazing traction.
A bit of loose surface there. There's no wheel spin there, is there?
Mate, what a rally car this would be. Can you imagine how this would be good in a rally in the red? A little bit of lock there. Any other car would have just would have had a big step out. Yeah. If you're the only person in the car.
Just had to try that first year.
We've driven just about every EV on the market out here.
Yeah.
Front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all wheel drive, 600 horsepower, 200 horsepower.
Yeah.
We've driven them all. And this is at the top of the tree so far.
Yeah, you got your Porsche Taycan, haven't you, which probably still is there.
Sorry.
At the top of the tree.
Yes. The price of that Taycan Turbo was eye-watering. All day I thought this was the one with the normal roof because it's just got a normal headlining up there. And look what I found.
There you go, Stu.
Look at that.
Should have read the manual.
Giant. So this is the up-spec one. It's only going to take 33 hours to get a full charge. We'll just leave it on for half an hour and see what we get. I should get home. I can honestly say I think this is the most satisfying car I've had to drive in a very long time. It just does everything right. It feels so composed, even just in eco mode, like we're cruising down the mountain now. So we've had a bit of an adventure today with Mark driving, but now I've got another kind of adventure because when I left we had 100 k's to go and the range was showing about 90 k's, 24% on the battery. 21 k's ago and it's still showing 90 k's, 89 now, because I've been driving like a grandpa and it's mainly downhill. So we've been only using 3.4 kilowatt hours per 100k, which is like 100 miles per gallon in petrol terms or more. Really, really good. And the reason we're in this predicament is because we went to the EV charger up at Lawson and it wasn't working. No. Yeah, perfect. Or at least they seem to be working, but the app wouldn't connect. It said something wrong, try again later. But we haven't got the option to try again later. Not only that, they got the shittiest on hold music ever. So goodbye to you. And we've done a lot of driving today, but this is proving to be not as successful as it was last time. In any case, that's how we got in this little pickle. So now I can either risk it and drive home, or I can go to another charger. And you know what I think I'll do? Elon Musk, who's acting like the biggest ever at the moment, has put in a new 6-stall supercharger just down here at Wentworth, which doesn't show on the Hyundai Cars app. So we will go to that charger, which I found on my phone using the Tesla app and the A Better Route Planner app and PlugShare app. As I say, even though Hyundai supports over-the-air updates now, it's nav did not know about this one. We'll go there and we'll see if we can plug this non-Tesla into a Tesla supercharger. Non-Tesla. 1B. Start charging. Hey! God, that was easy. Somebody else had just arrived. Look at that, in his Tesla. And he gave me the dirty look that you get when Tesla owners see a non-Tesla at a Tesla charger. They go, "What are you doing here?" Oh, smashing it. Look, it would have been fun trying to get home without doing this, but hey, why not? If you want to know what it costs to charge your car, it depends. This is like 89 cents per kilowatt hour, which is a lot. Charge it at home, peak rate's normally about 26 cents, or off-peak could be like 12 or 15 or something like that if you're doing it overnight. So you charge your car like this, it's not going to be that much cheaper than petrol. So when you see people talking about, oh, they cost the same on a long road trip, yes, if you're using public infrastructure, particularly a non-Tesla or Tesla chargers, it's going to cost you. But if you're charging at home, it could be a third, a quarter, a fifth the price of petrol. I think that'll do. Stop charging. Done. Woo! Right, let's run through the score. Performance, absolutely right up there. Not quite perfect, but a well-deserved 4.8. Presentation, the base IONIQ 5 was good, but this one with the flared guards, we think it looks mean. Personality, it's got a 2. It should get 6 out of 5. Fully deserves full marks here, 5. Practicality, yep, same as the other IONIQ 5, really good. Price is the only letdown, but it still does pretty well, especially considering the opposition that performs in this league. So there you are, the current gold medalist, the first car to rack up 22 points on our scale, significantly ahead of the Porsche GT4 and the recently reviewed Corvette. Congratulations, Hyundai.